Hello and welcome to your tarot cards for September of 2025. I'm Danielle Stimpson. I'm the owner of Learn Reiki Philadelphia, and if you'd like to learn more about my live online Reiki certification classes, if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one distance healing session or tarot reading, go ahead and check out that QR code in the corner. It will bring you all the information. Also, it's linked in the description. So yeah, welcome. This is the first tarot for all 12 signs. I've done it a long time, and that includes my whole health sabbatical for dealing with breast cancer, for which I'm so grateful for my crew and for this lovely family that we've started building together. Thank you for all of your support. But it felt really sweet to be able to bring this forward to all of you this month. It's not going to be an easy month, so I wish I could have brought you a nicer month, but yeah, it is what it is. So let's go ahead, dive right in. The new format for these, instead of doing an individual separate video for all of the different signs and making you search for all the different signs you want to see, I'm going to put them all here together, and I'll bring in an introduction of the themes I saw as I did an individual tarot reading for each and every sign. And I kind of look at the themes and see how, on a global scale, the themes that are impacting us. I generally recommend that you check out the individual pieces for your sun sign, your moon sign, and certainly your rising sign if you happen to know them, as well as any other prominent placements in your chart. I have a Libra stellium. I read Libra as well. Bringing those all together will help give you a more well-rounded and individualistic view of what your month ahead might look like and what the themes are. So with that, they are marked with chapter markers, so you can just skip ahead to the ones that are relevant to you, and definitely check out the end because I did leave a tiny little surprise for you too. All right, so the big themes before we get into the individual stuff. Yeah, this month's going to be something. Okay, so it is eclipse season. It's going right through this month. Eclipse energy is about revisiting, endings, and beginnings. So this is about looking at things, especially things that were in other eclipse seasons. Last eclipse season was mid to late March of this year. That was the last one. So whatever was going on around then may come up for revisit now. These kinds of things, the lunar eclipses are more about the endings, the culling, the sweeping away, the letting go, the shedding. And then the solar eclipse is more about the new beginnings, the planting new seeds, finding new ways forward with that behind you. That is absolutely heavily thematic for all of us this month. Additionally, eclipse energy kind of doesn't hold any punches, especially this one, for being gentle about the things it brings up. Essentially, the things that are coming up now that have to end now or have to be reconciled now, it's fated, it's necessary. So if you would rather not deal with those things rather than walking through those times, it'll kind of drag you through it. I don't recommend that, but these things are kind of hard to process and deal with. I mean, these are difficult. I've given some personal instructions onto how you can best work with this energy through the month and some special advice for each of you. It's also something that truths coming up was a big one. So a lot of big clarity as far as big time, like things like fraud or whether it's a small level of someone running a business or a big level of running a country, a big level of running an international business, whatever it looks like, all of those sort of not great systems kind of starting to come down. It's almost like a sweet release of the Tower. The Tower did not come up, I don't think, in any of your individual readings, but the energy of the Tower card is quite different than a lot of people might think. The Tower, which is often seen as like the oh no card. The Tower is about, if you look at the card before it, it's the Devil. The Devil card has two individuals that are trying to get away, and they're chained to each other, but they're stuck. They can't get away. They're being held in place by things like corruption, lies, deceit, substance abuse, all those different, the lowest common denominator, human behavior. And the Tower is that sweet release. It basically says, boom, the Tower has exploded. And if you look on the Rider-Waite, the traditional tarot, you'll actually see two individuals flying out of that tower. Those are the people who were chained together in the devil. They're free now. That's great to be free. You're free of that awful structure. But, you know, you still haven't hit the ground yet. You haven't figured out what you're doing yet. It's sort of like, well, I'm glad that's over, but what next? So it is a bit of a sweet release of that. But there will definitely be some rubble to sift through, and that's going to take time. Because the other thing about the truth of this month, expect there to definitely be big, like, uh-oh, I can't hide that. But also understand that collectively, we don't have all of the information yet. Things are still cloudy. So throughout this month, a lot of you had messages of making big moves, and some of you had like, maybe get more information and wait till later. Brainstorming is more for now. Definitely peek into that. Know that as we start to see big cracks, it's like anything else. Hindsight's always 20/20. When we're able to look back on this time, we'll certainly see all the things. We'll certainly see all the details. So just know that that's there. Another thing about, so my bold predictions on the global scale, definitely huge fated change for everyone. In history, when we look at eclipses, like I said, the eclipse season, in history, and I mean hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years going back, the solar eclipse in particular had a lot to do with leadership, like leadership of countries, kings, and things like that. It was usually seen as a threat to the leaders, like somebody would lose their throne, their seat, their power. That's been a common understanding for many years, so maybe that's coming. Looks around an American. But there's a whole lot of leaders out there. So, I mean, we do have a king in the UK that we really hope that his cancer is stable and he's doing well. But there's a lot of leaders. We could see something like that. Other times we've seen just like their leadership being compromised in some way. So kind of keep an eye on that. But then again, in this current day and age, is that really a stretch? Like, do you really need tarot cards to suggest that? No, you don't. But that is what the tarot cards and what the eclipses would suggest. Definitely big, huge, faded change. There's going to be big closures and collapses of things that are old structures that are too cumbersome and not working will fall apart, and usually not in a glorious or pretty way. Again, with the tower, there's going to be a lot of rubble. This month, there's going to be times to blow things up and times to sweep the rubble and times to collect yourself and think about what you're going to do next. Definitely give yourself plenty of time, plenty of support, and plenty of patience as you go through this difficult month. This is not going to be an easy month for anyone. This is a great month to reach out to the people in your life that are the glue of your life, the people who you want to be there for them and they have been there for you. Lean on each other, be honest and open with each other. And definitely, if you can, I know I've said this in a couple of the individual readings, but if there was ever a month to like go and schedule yourself an appointment of something for self-care, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's riding roller coasters all day, crying with your therapist, whatever works for you, do you. But put some good, happy things on your schedule that are just for you. Like I said, I do the live streams. They're free. You can hang out with us. You can just sit there at home and collect some Reiki. It's great. But yeah, so there will be a lot of big shifts. So with that all said, those are the themes. Again, check your sun, moon, and rising if you possibly can. Go ahead and skip ahead. I'm so grateful to have been able to bring these through for all of you. Oh, and the tarot cards. I pulled numbers out of my singing bowl to decide which sign got read with which tarot deck. If you are interested in learning more about the deck that I'm using, go ahead and look in the description. I'll list all the different astrological signs and what deck I used for them. So with that, thank you all so much. Take care and have a beautiful September. Hello Aries, these are your cards for September of 2025. Coming in with our focus, we have the Six of Wands. This is all about, in a word, leadership. This is a celebration, and it's you that is being celebrated. Those wands, they are actions. They are things that have been done, results of actions taken. So essentially, this is showing you what you can see at the end of the month. you being celebrated for all you have done this month. But this month's going to be a heavy month. It's not going to be a bad month necessarily. It's just going to be very, very busy. Self-care will need to be a focus for sure. Speaking of that, the energy that we are entering the month with is the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is all about health, wealth, and resources. This is a beautiful boon from the universe to support you in doing anything new around health, wealth, or resources. So this can be anything from a windfall of money to the purchase of a house to good news in your health, good positive news in the health. So this can be just a message that this is coming your way. It is also an opportunity for you to use that energy and take those actions. If you've been thinking about those routines and shifts in your life, this is the time. The universe is definitely going to be able to support you. And yeah, it's all a good card. The challenges. The High Priestess. So the High Priestess, she is wisdom. She has all the knowledge, and she is wisdom. This is the energy of the moon, in things not being said outright, in things not being loud, but things being meaningful and spiritual. It's also the card of things that can be hidden, and when they come out. This often means secrets. This can be secrets that are impacting you through extended actions, like out in the community or the world that kind of push back on us, or it could be in our personal lives. Maybe these are your secrets. Maybe they're someone else's. It might be a little bit of both. But the High Priestess is saying there's definitely an opportunity to find the full story of whatever you've been looking for. So definitely listen to your intuition anytime we see the High Priestess. It's a great reminder to listen to our intuition, and definitely a reminder for self-care. And again, that's a big one this month. So how are we best to show up this month? Meaning, how do we act? How do we show up in the day? How do we do it? And here we get the Sun. Well, there is some darkness. What is dark will come to the light. That's basically what these two cards are saying. This is saying whatever that truth is, own it. Be out, be you. So if it's your truth that's getting put on blast, don't be ashamed. Be exactly who you are. This is also an opportunity to say, oh, now that we know this, I'm making this decision and this is how I will act. It's the Sun is towards the end of the major arcana, and that's usually around the end of whatever cycle we are in our life, and it's a triumph kind of card. So this could be a good opportunity to say, yep, this is the moment I've been waiting for, that I've been preparing for, whether I focused on it or not. This is a lovely way to just show up being the big-haired, loud person that you are. It is absolutely needed right now. This is like permission to be your full Aries. Words of warning in the whispers from your guides. Remember what I said about self-care. Okay. If we are not careful, at the end of the month, instead of looking like this, we're going to look like this. The Ten of Wands is about having way too much physical action taking a toll on you, and you just can't go anymore. It's just a collapse. Like, I can't go anymore, stick a fork in me, I'm done. It is avoidable. The best thing you can do right now, go ahead and hit pause on this video. Go ahead and book yourself something that is about self-care this month. Whether it's a massage or just a night home alone in the quiet. It could also be meeting with other healers, whatever that self-care feels like to you. When we have that self-care on the calendar and we know it's there, that's going to be immensely helpful. It's going to pay dividends if you do it if you do it now. Additionally, take every opportunity you can, but don't forget to pencil in that time for yourself. Make it a block on your schedule so you don't overlook it. I'm an Aries rising, and I know that's going to be my struggle, is taking better care of myself this month. But it is our challenge, and we can do it. So all the best to you, Aries. Hello, Taurus. These are your cards for September of 2025. We are bringing things in with a focus on reflection. The reflection card in this deck is would be known as the Hanged Man in other decks. Reflection really is a more apt term for it. That's really what it's meant to mean. This is not a month that's going to move forward with projects and deadlines and all the things. This is a time where there's going to be divine timing at play, so the things that hold you back are actually going to be helpful in the end. The best thing is to kind of use this time as wisely as you can. But yeah, focus this month on reflecting inward and reflecting on your outward situations as well. The energy that you're entering with from August into September is the Lovers. The Lovers is a big focus on relationships like interpersonally, spouses, things like that, but also to community. This is how we relate to the world around us and to the people around us. So this is our partnerships, making our relationships tighter and stronger. That is actually going to be really good energy later on in this reading. But yeah, glad that you're bringing that in. The challenges are next, and you've got a challenging card. 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is all about too much. You can't take it all with you. This is a card of, okay, if I'm going camping and I have to walk how far with my gear, how much can I take with me? You can't take it all. Some things you're going to have to leave behind. That's going to be kind of like the question you're asking yourself all month long. What feels like too much? Because right now, everything that you're doing, way too much. This is about deciding which of those wands you can still carry. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, basically, if you don't make the decisions about what you're going to carry forward and what you're going to leave behind, it'll kind of end up getting made for you. So just know that. How are you best to show up this month? Like, what kind of vibe should you bring? How are you going to get the things done? And this is a 5 of Wands. This is generally considered like the aggressive, angry fighting card. Here, what it really means is strategy in a sense. So 5 of Wands, yeah, it's 5 people each hitting each other with sticks with no clear winner. It's a reminder that sometimes arguments are fruitful and sometimes they're not. It's just a lot of nastiness going around in circles. This is a good month for you to decide, okay, I need to fight for this. I need to bring my energy and put my foot down and risk upsetting people. And what is absolutely not worth your energy, and it is much better for you to kind of do the Sun Tzu thing of, there's lots of things Sun Tzu did, but there's one where he says the best outcome to a conflict or a battle is not having to have it in the first place. This is kind of keeping quiet, low profile, so you stay out of the fray that you don't need to be involved in. So if you're going to have to go through a lot and decide which of those 10 wands, don't hesitate to put one down or just not show up. Just don't show up to the argument, play dumb, or not. Bring your energy to the arguments when you have to. There's a time and a place for that. But be discerning. Be discerning about how you want to move forward. And last but not least, we have our whispers from our guides, our advice, our words of wisdom, things to know. Remember what I said about relationships? Yeah, this is the 3 of Cups. This is the card of getting close with your people and celebrating. I feel like this is reminding you that you have good people. And now is the good time to call them and tell them how much you care, because you're going to be talking to them later on this month. These two cards, definitely. The relationships that you're entering the month with, those good ones, definitely celebrate them and spend time with them. That can be your kind of foil to the difficulty. Don't hesitate to lean on those people. Don't hesitate to just sort of break out of a funk with those people. Do something different for a little bit, give you some perspective. But yeah, definitely lean on your friends. And with all that, I'll see you next month. Hello, Gemini. These are your cards for September of 2025. Coming into the month with the focus is on the Wheel of Fortune. I'm just going to back up and just preface this. This month is going to be a lot and alive and moving very quickly. Lots of change. I can see from this reading that you're already kind of in the thick of that, so that's not really a surprise. Here at the beginning with the focus being the Wheel of Fortune, this is a really heavy major arcana card. Not heavy in a bad way, but just it's a big hitter. This is fate. This is change of fortune. This is what's up must come down. What is down must come up. This is what's thriving might not. This is just a lot of change. It's going to be really volatile change. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad change by any means. The reason I know that this is already happening is you are entering the month with 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is the card of energy already in motion. Wands are all about physical activity and getting things completed and done in the real world. Actions we take, causes we make. This shows me that, one, these fast changes are already happening, and two, communication has become really important. You may be having really difficult conversations. You definitely will this month. You might be having some really important conversations that actually are to the benefit. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but a lot going on. These two cards together, they kind of tell me, don't fight upstream. The change is going to happen whether you are on board and embracing it or being dragged behind it. So going through the motions and just sort of accepting it and being as unattached to the outcome as you can is a good way to deal with it. I know that that's a lot easier said than done, but the change is inevitable. The challenge for this month also sheds a lot of light on what's happening. This is definitely a big month if you talk to any astrologers or, the main themes that I brought up in the beginning. The High Priestess, this card, you are the second sign that has had this card in this position, and you're only the third sign I'm reading. So that's very noteworthy. The High Priestess is knowledge and wisdom on a very deep level. She knows what's going to happen. She understands the rhythms and the timing and how things go. She also is not one that is quick to open her mouth. She's sitting there quietly just knowing. This is a card that can indicate things like secrets. First of all, this is also a blessing card. This is usually a card of, okay, your guides are watching over you here. It's also a card of, if you take advice from it, trusting your own intuition. Additionally, things may be more than what's seen. This can be a card of secrets and not complete truths, incomplete truths. Being in this challenge position, it tells me that inconvenient truths are coming up for you and others, and I think it's going to be a lot of us. Additionally, some really important information is going to help some of us release the things that need to be let go of. This challenge is basically saying, hey, this is out of our hands. This is already fated. It's already the results of the energy we've put out there. So the challenge is just kind of trusting yourself. Also, this is a good card to remind you to take care of yourself. So just know that. But yeah, interesting that that's been in that position for more than one sign with the eclipses and stuff. That really struck me as noteworthy. Okay, so for the showing up, how are you best to actually walk into life every day this month? What would be most helpful? And with that, we get the Six of Swords. Six of Swords traditionally, like in the Rider-Waite, is the one with a woman in a boat, and she's being paddled or moved into calmer waters by another party, and she's got just her 6 swords with her. This is a card of taking what serves and going to somewhere better. In this position of showing up, swords being very much mental, intellect, and communication, which is already a big deal for you. We're already seeing there's a lot of really heavy-hitting communication going back and forth. This is about trusting what feels right, what you know is good, what you know in your heart will lead to something better. The best advice I can say with this card showing up in this position is to leave behind what does not serve by way of embracing what does. Sail towards the things you want. Bring the things you want with you. Identify the people, the situations, the scenarios that are beneficial, and figure out a way to make them more front and center while other things fall away. But yeah, that is a good card. Just kind of embrace for the things that are gonna leave and just focus on the things that are most important for you. The whispers from your guides, the advice, the kind of hints from above, there is actually a warning here. It's an easy warning to keep a look at, though. This is the Four of Coins, and this particular card showed up in the reverse for me when I was reading for you. I don't always do reversals, only when it feels important, and this one felt important. The Four of Coins is a man kind of like a miser holding onto his money. The pentacles in this one showing really displaying finances, but also keeping them tight to the vest. It can also show you might need to spend, or you might be in a position to lose money. The way I want to read this here with all of the other cards that are there, keep a tight eye on your money. Check your bank statements, make sure there's not a charge that's getting doubled, make sure that there's not something that's been billing you forever. And if you're making a big purchase, see if you can push it off or just be really careful about it. This is not a time to spend a ton of money if you can avoid it. And if you can't avoid it, just be extra careful. So that is the Four of Coins. It also does speak to spending money when it's important and spending the money that needs to be spent on what's important. So that is your Four of Coins. So that is your reading for the month. Generally speaking, it's acknowledging the difficulty you've already been through and that will continue, and why, but also how to make the most of it. Go to what's easier, go to what's better, decide what's important, and let the rest fall where it may. So all the best to you, Gemini. I wish you a happy and healthy month ahead. Hello, Cancer. These are your cards for September of 2025. Starting things off with our focus, we have the Queen of Wands. This is some beautiful boss babe energy. Wands are all about action, getting things done, completing tasks in the physical world through effort. Queens are all about managing that kind of energy. This is a great time to focus on helping and supporting others, as well as helping and supporting yourself, possibly standing up for some others. And we'll see where that may play out later in the reading. But yeah, you are the one deciding where your energy gets spent this whole month. That's the best focus. How are you entering the month? Right about now, end of last month, beginning of now, this is the Star. The Star, major arcana. This shows that something shifted to your benefit. There is some sign of hope. There is some sign of completion. Something has ended for the best or hit that milestone that you really wanted to have. And that's going to be a big part of the month ahead. So look at the things you are working towards that you achieved or things that are coming into fullness right around now. The challenge for this month. The challenge for this month is the Ten of Pentacles. So this is usually, if it shows up right side up, it's a good thing. But here it's in the challenge position. Ten of Coins has a lot to do, obviously, with finances. Pentacles, coins, same thing. They involve money, wealth, resources, also health. This is usually, when it shows up this way, this is usually shared resources, money, even like family estates, investments, but also inheritances. It's all of that stuff. It's wealth and things that usually are tangled in with other people. So that's going to be coming up. That's going to be a challenge. This is a good time to keep an eye on your wealth. Be mindful of investments for sure if this is a challenge. But yeah, I think that there's going to be more interpersonal connections here. So if you've been looking to work with or make some kind of adjustment with resources that involve other people, particularly if they happen to be your family or very close to you, this is a sign that there may be some trouble about that. However, just keep an eye out for it. You don't have to expect something terrible to happen. The other thing I kind of want to bring up here, I've done some readings for the other signs. One of the themes that's coming up very much echoes the eclipse season energy of endings and beginnings and kind of divine timing. Absolutely. A lot of people are getting very strong signs that the truth is going to come out of nowhere. Things that you thought you knew, you will find out are incorrect. All that kind of stuff. So don't be necessarily surprised if it impacts those parts of your life too. So that's the challenge, keeping an eye on the money. Given that the Star and the Queen of Wands were there, you may be standing up for someone else in regards to their resources as well. So just keep an eye on that. That's your challenge. How are you best to show up this month? Now, the next two cards look terrible. They look frightening, but the way they show up, not all that bad. So how you're best to show up this month? 10 of Swords, generally not considered a great card. You can see why. Swords represent mental intellect thinking, so our mind, which is always the hardest thing about a human being. So this tends to be the most difficult suit. The 10 is that kind of fullness culmination. It's in the sword suit, this is, I can't go on anymore. This is like, stick a fork in me, I'm done. The good news is about the 10 of Swords is that the bad things kind of come to an end. You can't get any worse. So how are you showing up this month? You're showing up without any energy to put in the wrong direction because there's just no place to put it. If you feel like you just don't have any more energy to give or any more mental space to give to a particular direction, this is reminding you to go ahead and mentally withdraw from that this is too much. It's also okay to tell people, I can't deal with this right now. So show up and with the understanding that mentally you are already parsing through a lot. There's a lot weighing on you. And remember to take care of yourself in that way. So if that's scheduling time with friends or anyone to just vent and talk, that could be really helpful. But just in general, I would say that this month is not a good month to take on more responsibilities if you can possibly avoid it, at least not big, lengthy, long-term effort involved kinds of things. So yeah, show up knowing that you just need some mental health days, and that's okay. It's just going to be a month. But what comes from our guides? We have a whispers from our guides, and this is their advice. And this is actually really beautiful. 9 of Wands. So this is the advice card. 9 of Wands. Wands, again, are action and getting things done. This is the card of, I don't know how much farther I can go, how much farther I can carry this. It's like when you're carrying something, when you're helping someone move, and you're like, I don't know how much longer I can hold this up. That's the energy of this card in regards to how you show up, use your time, use your energy. This advice from your guides is basically telling you that this is the final push. Whatever the difficulties are that you're going through this month, which I think are holdovers from the past, this is basically saying, yeah, this feels like you've been beat up. You have. But they are coming to an end. You are in the final push. So any difficulties that do come up this month, the good news is they're going to kind of get composted, and something new is going to come from that is actually going to clear the space for you. These are both cards of endings and beginnings. So is the 10 of Pentacles that you got earlier as well. Lots of end of the numbers. So definitely end of a cycle, beginning of a new one. But because you're close to the end of a cycle, things get really uncomfortable before they get comfortable again. That's kind of where you're at. This 10 of Swords often seen as like, well, at least it can't get any worse. So yeah, things aren't going to get necessarily worse. We're going to get resolutions this month. know that you need some support, reach out to your peoples and let them know. But definitely know that you will get there. You're closer than you think. The difficulties are going to start to lighten their load. These two are also, especially when they're together, and especially with the family cards, there could be a sign of forgiveness here. Now, whether that's you forgiving someone else forgiving you, or you forgiving yourself, could be a couple of those, could be all of them, I don't know. But definitely look at these elements of forgiveness and letting go, or even, I'm just forgiving you, just so I don't have to carry this in my heart anymore. Even if it's not about them, it's about you. This is definitely a time where things will come to an end, leaving room for something really positive on the other side. So all the best to you, Cancer. You do have good things coming to you in the very near future. This is actually a really hopeful card to end on. So with that, I hope you have a beautiful month. Hello, Leo. These are your cards for September of 2025. So with the focus, we get started off with the Empress. The Empress is the combination of the divine feminine and masculine. She is seen as basically gestation, holding space and nurturing for something to grow. Lovely, given everything else. This is basically, as the focus of the month, I would say the good thing is what you feed will grow. The potentially bad news is what you feed will grow. So use that energy wisely. Getting things started off with the Fool. The thing about starting off with new things, as the Fool suggests, is that, for one, as you're entering the month, this is about starting new and fresh and a whole new perspective, a whole new journey. This might be a new job, a move, just a new way of looking at things even. But this is not a false promise. This is you embracing the next steps. You've reached a certain place of resolution, and now you're looking at things and seeing how else you can show up in the world. The thing is, when you start to get ready and you're now feeding what you want to feed, sometimes the last few things that are holding you back become that much more obvious to deal with. And sometimes they get not super obvious to deal with. What do I mean by that? The third major arcana of your reading. The challenge is strength. So strength. Strength card is the obvious, having strength over things, powering through difficult times, but also strength on the reverse can mean misuse or abuse of power and things like that. Additionally, when we look at this card, this particular deck, the Steampunk Tarot, does a great job of explaining it as I understand it. The old parable of the lion with the thorn in its paw. The lion has the thorn in its paw. The lion is really, really, really scary. But if we go over and pull that thorn out of its paw, we'll have a friend for life. And that is a parable about going to the scariest parts of ourselves and pulling out those splinters and doing that healing so we can go along on our path without this fear of something stalking us that is in pain, because we are the something in pain. This month, with this, I would say it's a great time to do shadow healing work, be introspective, looking at yourself, what you want to change, but also looking at your hard and fast held beliefs. This can be a card of projection and trying to convince yourself through trying to convince others. Anything that comes up within you that is unhealed is going to come up real strong. So be willing to meet up with that person in your life that will tell you the truth, even if it hurts, will be helpful. But also if you spend that time genuinely supporting yourself and healing what's underneath it. Unfortunately, if you don't do that work, this is ego run amok. This is trying to get out of the way of a problem only to find out you are the problem. The call is coming from inside the house, as I would say. This is not something you want to end up as having a dogmatism, fanaticism, black and white thinking, you can't even entertain anything else. That's what happens when we ignore this. So know that the challenge is going to be seeing parts of ourselves that we're not particularly proud of and making those changes, but it will pay off in the end. It is extremely important to do that. And also, as a challenge, it's a very internal challenge. It's one that will help you in the long run, and it's kind of great. You're embracing this new time. You're going to be able to leave some things behind. And with that, how are you best to show up this month? By leaving some things behind. So here is the 8 of Cups. Now I'm going to monitor the glare there, but take a look if you can at her face. She is not smiling. She looks a little like, I don't know about this. And here behind her are a bunch of cups and a dark moonlit sky, lots of confusing things. Cups are all about emotions and how we feel and our emotional fulfillment in all ways in life. This is, as the 8, this is basically looking at those cups that you have, proverbial cups being like your emotional heart, looking at what of those cups haven't been full in a while and moving on. So this is leaving behind what is not sustainable, what's not emotionally healthy, and also leaving behind what doesn't serve so you can embrace something new. So yeah, this is very much so with the reading I'm seeing, especially with the Fool. This is a reminder that as we embrace new things, things tend to get really uncomfortable first as we let go of that last bit of the old stuff. And that's kind of what this is telling me. So show up this month with a willingness to say, is this really serving me emotionally? Or maybe I'm better off to leave it behind. Which brings us to the whispers from your guides, the advice from the universe. This very much relates to this card. So definite advice, 3 of Swords. This is not happy as it looks. Now, remember, this is advice and warnings and things like that. Swords are mental. It's thinking, it's intellect. The Heart of Gears here is, usually this is 3 swords and a heart. It's often called the cheating card, the divorce card, one too many kind of thing. In general, this is someone or something bringing forward a heartbreaking truth. And this month, I have seen already through the signs that I've already read and through the astrology and things like that, we absolutely have a whole lot of truth coming out this month. That is going to be a theme. So it's not just going to be ourselves that we're looking to root out that trust and what's going on with the Strength card that we talked about. It's also know that there's going to be some people where truth may come out about them, their relationship, anything like that, where you may decide to move forward. Like you may learn some really disappointing things about someone else. You may feel betrayed. So these two definitely go together. If someone is doing this to you, consider responding this way, walking away, even though you might not know what's next. But that is your reading for the month. And honestly, that's the best reading I've had for anyone so far. This is more of a month of refinement. And I know it might sound really heavy with all of that coming in, but remember the strongest cards, the major arcana cards that you had, the Empress, the Fool. Those are much bigger. Those new things coming into your life, so much bigger than the things that will be leaving it, which were all minor arcana. So focus on yourself. Focus on being the best you can be. Focus on you deserve better. And just trust yourself accordingly. And I wish you all the best in the month ahead. Hello, Virgo. These are your cards for September of 2025. So we're starting things off. Our focus was the 5 of Pentacles, but it showed up in reverse. And it felt very much to me that it wanted to be read in the reverse. As you can see, these people look worse for their wear, financial and resource difficulties, feeling left out in the cold. The good thing is when this card is upside down, it means something quite the opposite. It means it's basically acknowledging all you've been through recently and which has been really hard, and letting you know that those times are coming to an end. So that's the focus. Those times are coming to an end. This month is a good month for transition. Speaking of transition, how are we entering the month? This is, don't be scared, because you already knew that this happened. So this is the Death card. Death is about ending. So this could be anything from leaving a job, a company collapsing, a breakup, a literal death, death of a way of life, any of the above. Something has happened where it's time for that thing to end. As cruel as the situation may feel, and I think for a lot of you it is, some of my Virgo friends are really going through it, the Death card here really shows that either way, this wasn't serving, and it's time to move forward, or it was just the time for things to go. So just know you're entering the month working through a very major arcana moment of leaving things behind in a very big way. The challenge was the Ace of Swords in reverse. So Ace of Swords in the upright is all about clear communication, basically cutting through lies and fluff, getting the truth, being really succinct. Upside down, it's all of those things kind of being muddy, being unclear. This is everything about your thoughts, communication. It has to do also with spiraling thoughts too. So right here, it's going to be muddled information, and you are not going to have all of the story. That's very much other signs this month. It's also very much eclipse season. So this is having difficulty trusting the information. It's also that your thoughts can kind of run away from you. This isn't a good time to give in to thinking that everybody's out to get you. Make sure that you don't spiral in that way. But just know that this isn't a time where you're going to be getting the full story on anything. And that's the challenge. The way that we are best to show up. So this is just how do we show up in the month? What do we do to make the best of this month? And that is our Page of Wands or Rods. Pages are this lovely childlike energy. There's tons of energy, there's tons of motivation, but there's a lack of knowledge. This is someone who, this and the Page of Swords can often be called the Fool's Rush In card, because they have lots of energy to jump in. They didn't necessarily make a plan. So that's basically what this is. It's basically saying, especially when it's upside down, that means that the messages are not clear, the directives are not clear, things like that. This has a lot to do with new ideas, beginnings. Brainstorming a way better future for yourself is a great way to do it. Not putting any limits on what's possible could be a lovely way to approach it. But this is very much like, rather than saying, planting your stake in the sand and saying, this is what I'm going to do, it's a better month to say, I might do that. I might do that too. I'm going to research that thing. I might do that over there. This month is that time. It's also a month for self-care. This is all saying, all the info you're getting, great, take it, but it's incomplete and not a time for big commitments unless you were already working on it. So I would say, yeah, just enjoy it, because there's some really good news coming. Last, certainly not least, the whispers from your guides, the advice from your team, and it is the Wheel of Fortune upright. This is incredible. When this and death are in a reading together, it's especially powerful. Death is about endings, completion, moving on, be it bittersweet or not. The Wheel of Fortune is about fate, destiny, but even more so, it's about the results of our work and the results of our actions. So when does the wheel stop? Nobody knows. It's basically saying there are going to be lots of opportunities down the road, and they're going to be amazing. And I'm laughing because similarities between signs this month are really strong. The The Wheel of Fortune is a lovely card to embrace. So this month, to make the most of it, definitely think about what you want your future life to look like. No wrong answers when you're brainstorming. And know that things are really shifting to the big time positive. You have shed a layer, you have healed something, and it is now thankfully in your hindsight. So all the best to you, my dear Virgos. I hope you have a lovely month and things get better. Bye for now. Hello Libra, these are your cards for September of 2025. Coming in with the focus, we have the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a fabulous card, especially for the focus for the month. This is saying, you're feeling very content in what's going on right now. There are some big friction points, but for the most part, you're at a good place. There are just some last tweaks that you're going to need to make. And what do I mean by that? This is going to be the theme throughout your reading, essentially of looking at what isn't serving you and working through how to let that go. And there's a reason, because you've got great things coming in to take its place. This is the month to get to the nooks and the crannies of your life and think about how you want it to look down the road. And then you'll be able to continue to plan accordingly and set your goals. So Nine of Cups is saying, okay, this is okay. How do I make it even better? The card that comes next is how you're entering the month, your energy right now. This is the Two of Swords. This is very stuck energy. This is avoidance. This is refusal to make decisions. This is even difficult times, making any kind of commitment. You feel like you don't want to commit to anything just yet. As long as you don't commit, it's not real. But that's okay. You don't have to right now. The challenge. Challenge is Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is a very much an emotional card. It's basically saying you feel unfulfilled, and so you are walking away, even if that is into darkness. This card as a challenge says that it may feel really, really difficult to move forward. You might even be indecisive about things around that. These two cards may be connected for you. Eight of Cups says you are walking into the darkness. You aren't going to see exactly what's on the other side. There is a certain element of needing to blind trust yourself and your intuition. But at the same time, this is a card of feeling sort of empty, feeling like you're not getting your cup refilled. You're filling other people's cups, but your cup is not getting filled. So that's the challenge that will be happening. The how to show up in the month. So this is, if you want to make the most of the month, the best of the month, go ahead and embody this a little bit. So this is the Hermit. Now the Hermit, I'm not saying, okay, get away from everybody outside and lock yourself inside. I mean, if you really want to do that, you do you. But the Hermit is basically saying, now is a time to look in and see what you really want. And it might surprise you what's there. So definitely take that time with yourself. It also says, follow your light. This is a great time to find those things that you want to fix and change them. Like, hey, I do this habit and it's getting in my way and it's holding me back. How can I work around that? This is an excellent time. And it could be something like day-to-day small activities that you kind of refocus, or it could be big, huge things. But this is a time to reflect in and see what you want, and then to be led by your heart and your light to what's next. And the closing here, we have the whispers from your guides. This is like advice from your guides. And we have the Father of Cups or the King of Cups. King of Cups is someone who he's definitely been through some things before. He knows how to he knows how to be the king, in that he knows to listen and take in more information than you give out. This is about rising above, being more mature and being balanced and measured in your behaviors as well. And as an advice card, this is basically saying this is a really good time to like not give in to flights of immaturity. You might be prone to them because when other people are acting immature, which they will be this month. I mean, when aren't they? But when other people are acting that way, it's hard to not respond in kind. This might be a really good time when you're hanging out with people or you're doing business with people and you feel like this is not it. Just go ahead and be neutral. This isn't a month of commitments. This is a month of exploring what you want. So give yourself the gift of that time, of that reflection, so that you can make your future everything you want it to be. So thank you for letting me do the most optimistic reading yet. Hello, Scorpio. These are your cards for September of 2025. I had a real ball reading your cards this month. For the challenge position, 2 cards fell out when I pulled for that category. It's not necessarily bad, though. They actually complement each other pretty well. So let's start with the focus. The focus of this month is definitely on 2 things. It is expanding our mind to new possibilities. It's softening our hard and rigid beliefs to consider things we never would have before. This is the month to do that and just sort of try on new concepts. The energy is primed for that. So that's what comes up here with the Page of Wands. This is a beautiful burst of new energy, how you want to like run into the world in a different way. So this is a great energy to bring in. It's also, again, softening beliefs and things. In entering the month, this is how you are walking in to September, what you're bringing with you. It's embodied by the Queen of Swords. Swords are mental intellect, clarity, words, legal stuff. Yeah, thinking, so mental health too. Thinking and writing to some extent. This is basically saying that there is difficulty with communications. There may, because these 2 are together, there may have even been like an argument around boundaries. Yeah, that's basically how you're coming in. It's feeling like you have to have your sword on guard and trying your best to stay balanced with all of that going on. The challenge, like I said, you got 2 challenge cards, but like I said, they go together and yeah, here they are. It's the Emperor and the 10 of Wands. And the 10 of Wands is traditionally a gentleman with like 10 wands on his back and he is collapsed under the weight of it. He cannot physically move forward any longer, will not stand. The Emperor is about structures, hierarchy, systems, stability. This is definitely a number 4 in the tarot sense, in that 4 means stability, but it often means quite unchangeable. This is saying that big major arcana, some big things are going to kind of hit the fan and piddle out. I would say that there's the things that cannot stand any longer will just fall in whatever spectacular or quiet ways that might embody. But yeah, expect things out of your control to just collapse. This can be a really good thing though, because it can help to kind of clear the deck for the next things that you're going for. So, I mean, if it's not working anymore, you kind of have to face what it is. So how are you best to show up this month? Like what do you do when you get up out of bed? How are you best to look at the day? This is represented by the 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups is often considered the illusion delusion card, in that there's a vast array of opportunities and anything can happen. Kinda. You haven't looked really close at all the opportunities, you're just kind of taking it all in. This is someone seeing things, everything looks great from the outside, but then you get down to the details and you're like, oh, hang on. This right now, walking into your day, is the day to just explore. Just try on new ways of thinking, new ways of feeling, new ways of showing up in your work life, your home life, your family life. This is all about seeing things that aren't there just yet or haven't formulated completely, but starting to get an idea of, if that's an opportunity, how does that feel? And kind of try it on. So definitely explore. There's nothing wrong with taking in the information and thinking about, like, brainstorming a really amazing future, your next steps, and your long-term goals. And finally, we have whispers from your guides, or the advice, if you will. This is 6 of coins. Essentially, this card embodies fairness in resources, money, property, real estate, those kinds of things. And it is about making people whole, and it is about evening out the imbalance. Not all money is earned equally by any means. This is finding fairness. So this month, when you have opportunities to look at those arrangements on the very specific, if we want to say, we'll take the card very literally, this would be literally making sure you're paying people what they're worth and that you are getting paid what you're worth. That kind of thing. Also, this is a card that says a greater sense of balance in work shared. So this might be a matter of someone in the home or in the work environment is doing more than someone else, and that might need to be adjusted. So take this opportunity to look for things that might feel out of balance so that you can bring them together and harmonize them. Yeah, it could be estate stuff, it could be family money, it could be that kind of stuff. But just be as fair as you can. And that's your month ahead. I think it's going to be a good one. There's going to be some big surprises for sure, but I feel like you're in a great place to take it on. So all the best to you, Scorpio. Hello, Sagittarius. These are your cards for September of 2025. And if I could summarize your whole reading, I would basically say this month is like, don't lose the plot kind of thing. Yeah. So we start in, this is the focus of the month. It's the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the idea of a spiritual teacher and wisdom. As the focus, this is about not so much making progress externally, it's about reflecting inward. This is making sure that you are showing up in a way that is aligned with your personal principles, your personal morals and ethics, your personal boundaries and standards too. So this is a good month to kind of take a look at everything and just make sure that you haven't lost the plot, you haven't deviated from the course, because if you have, you can redirect. Absolutely. How are you entering the month? So this is not more of it. This is just what's already been, and you already know about this. The 9 of Wands is a lot of action, so much action that they really can't go much further. The next card, the 10 of Wands, is the gentleman collapsed under all of the wands, just under the weight of them. He's close to that. This is basically saying you're almost there, kind of thing, like whatever it is that's going to come to an end is coming soon. It's also saying things can't continue much longer. There will be a shift, but this is how you're entering the month, just kind of beleaguered, like limping along. So what is your challenge of the month? The challenge this month, ambivalence, really. The 4 of Cups is about a lack of motivation. He doesn't want to drink the wine. He's kind of over it. Yeah, it's, oh, great, that wine again. Yeah, it's very much that energy. It's giving couch rot. It really is. But as we'll see later, there are some moments for couch rot being a good thing. So yeah, this is also can be prone to anger and resentment. So I would definitely say watch out for those. Those feelings can be sneaky, particularly resentment. It can kind of show up in ways that we don't expect. So that's the challenge. With the other vibe of like, okay, great, how do we show up with this? Like, what am I supposed to do with all of this? Strive for balance and keeping things above water. 2 of Pentacles. As you can see, she's on this penny farthing over really rough water, and she's focusing and very determined on this journey of hers. It doesn't look easy. It must take a lot of energy to do that. That's what this is acknowledging. This is saying to be adaptable and open-minded to finding new ways to move those things forward. The next card in the deck from this is the Three of Pentacles. It's three people working together. This is about, hey, is there an opportunity to work smarter, not harder? And yeah, there probably is. So open your mind up to those possibilities. Sometimes you'll still be this, and sometimes you can innovate. But show up knowing that you may not have a choice. You may be confronted with, the only way I can show up is simply to maintain the balance and not gain any ground. That is okay. Absolutely okay this month. Nobody else is ready to move forward. It's not just you. This is about opening up, seeing things the way they are, forgiving yourself if they're not going to change overnight, but keeping your eyes out for other opportunities and better ways to move forward. We end on the Whispers from Your Guides, the advice, and that is the Four of Swords. Now, you had a couple of fours, and the energy of this reading is very four in tarot. In tarot, the number 4 is about stability, but that also gives way to stagnation. So that's, yeah, it's something you want to build a house on, a foundation. It's, you can't travel with your house usually, unless you live in an RV. You can't travel with your house. So this is telling you the best way to move forward this month is to make time for yourself, to simply rest, meditate, specifically rest your mind. Swords are mental, they're thinking, they're clarity, and this is the card of rest. So put those things down for now and try to reflect inward. Take that time for your mental and physical exhaustion that you entered the month with. This is a good month for you to not make much progress, but rather to take care of yourself, to prepare for what comes next, which is going to be building things that tend to resonate with you more. And that'll be easier for you to do next month when we're not in the middle of all, well, maybe not next month. You get what I mean. Pretty soon things are going to move and you won't be quite so stymied. So do your best this month. Just take care of yourself. And I will see you next month. All the best to you. Hello, Capricorn. These are your cards for September of 2025. Capricorn is my sun sign, so we are in this one together. This is a pretty fun reading. So coming in, starting the month, the focus is on the 10 of Swords in reverse. So 10 of Swords is usually all the swords in the guy's back. It's the, okay, game over. You can't go any further. Done. Now this is, if you will, in the reverse. It's sort of like in gaming, it's like you respawned. This is you coming back for the rebirth, the recovery, the starting over, especially after a time of difficulty. So this is a great time for you to focus on exactly what you want in the future. How are you entering the month? You are entering the month with some big boss daddy business energy. Yes, you are. This is the King of Wands. He is all about leading by experience and being the one to be the big leader. Huge leadership here. But also this is because you have walked through that fire, and that is now coming with you into what you can provide and your knowledge base and the person that you are. You're moving forward into good things, and right now you're entering the month with that I can't wait to dive in kind of energy. You're already planning. So the challenge. The challenge is the 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords, and there's a lot of swords in this reading, definitely a lot of mental this month. But the 6 of Swords is deciding what you want to keep, what you want to let go of, and move to somewhere better. This is the 5 of Swords is not a great card. This is like right after the 5 of Swords when you're like, you know what? That whole fight scene right there, I don't want to do that again. I'm just going to grab my stuff and leave. And that's what he's doing. He's grabbing his duffel and stuff, and he's peacing out. The challenge is going to be separating what you want to take into your new life and what you want to leave behind, especially on the mental level. So there might be a lot of thinking of, do I leave this story behind, this thought or idea I had behind? It may also show up in the physical, like literal stuff. Also, there's going to be potentially some people that you might have to let go of. So that's going to be the challenge, deciding what you want to let go of, but know that ultimately you will be moving into calmer waters. Things are going to get better. So think of this as you're done with the worst of it, but there's still just a little bit more to clean up. And that's the challenge for this month. For how are you best to show up this month? Like, how are you best to start your day, for example? So this is the Ace of Cups, but this also showed up in reverse. The Ace of Cups in reverse is all about creativity. You're opening your heart, setting intentions, but instead of the usual, because this says buckets instead of cups, the usual Ace of Cups is all about a burst of energy and a prime of energy to go outside and engage with people and relationships. When it's in the reverse, it's coming into yourself. It's connecting with yourself. So it's all of those things about creativity, heart, and setting intentions, but also specifically thinking about what kind of relationships you want in the future. So this is kind of planning, if you will, or thinking about who you want in your life in the future now that you're kind of cleaning up some space. So that is how to show up this month. Creativity, an open heart, be open to learning about yourself too. And certainly know too, actually, that this can mean too that you have that there's like emotional factors going on in the background that you might not realize are impacting your decision making. So just know that there's a potential for some emotional landmines, if you will, coming up this month. So just give yourself lots of self-care and lots of space to kind of think things through. The Whispers from Our Guides, the advice card, I love this for us. So it is the Page of Swords in reverse. Page of Swords, messenger running, kind of kid energy. This is really impish kind of energy, like precocious child energy. So here's our Page of Swords in reverse. Our precocious child energy, our defiant little kid that says exactly what's happening no matter what's going on. We need to be that kid. This is the Hans Christian Andersen, the Emperor's New Robes kind of approach. If you don't know the story, the salesmen come in, they tell the king, oh, we have this amazing fabric. And if you're not intelligent, you can't see it. Only us smart people can see it. And the king was like, oh yeah, it's beautiful. There was nothing there. So he gets these robes made, pays these guys lots of money for these robes that he cannot see or feel. And everyone around him is like, yeah, I see it. No, I'm not an idiot. I absolutely see it. It wasn't until he was walking through a parade that a little kid came up, apropos nothing, and just says, why is the king naked? And that's when the glass kind of shattered and everyone realized this is what we've been looking at the whole time. Yeah, that meme. So we have been tasked with breaking some glass. And it also means like that's important for us to do. The energy of a Page of Swords run amok is very much like saying the thing, just spitting it out, not maturing what you're saying. It's also about really just your observations are what's absolutely needed right now, and just being candid with it will be really helpful to folks. So have a lovely month, Capricorns. Hello, Aquarius. These are your cards for September of 2025. First, starting us off with the focus, here is the Knight of Cups, which did come up actually in reverse. This card is basically saying this is a great month to focus on relationships, how you connect with people. Also, being that it's in the reverse, I feel there's an added sense of you might need some people around right now to help support you and to help kind of keep your spirits up a little bit. Yeah, I feel like connection with other people is a better remedy for anything that you might be feeling than isolating. So that is the Knight of Cups in the focus. How are you entering the month? You are walking in with an open heart, ready for relationships. You're starting off better relationships with other people, and you're open to new styles and types of relationships. This Two of Cups puts you in a really great place to have those open, honest connections with folks. The challenge for the month. That was the Seven of Coins in reverse. The Seven of Coins, not in reverse. Seven of Coins straight up. So in the challenge, this will be kind of feeling a lot like you want to reevaluate what you are compensated for the work you put out. And it may not be limited just to money, but also like in a home, in a marriage, and anything. You might be like, I'm putting out all this energy and I'm not getting return, or something along like an imbalance there. There's also a time to look at actual finances and see maybe something's not working out the way you wanted it to. There's a lot of effort with little to show for it, and starting to reevaluate those places where you may have put a lot of energy in and it is not bearing fruit now. So how do you want to deal with that? So yeah, there's going to be looking over these things and a lot of regret over these things, a lot of kicking yourself. There's a lot of energy here to say, be nice to yourself, but just putting that out there. This could also have something to do with an actual financial loss. So this could be something along the lines of a closed business, bad investments, things like that. It could also be the challenge of like a company or something closing that you might work for, that kind of stuff. So it has to do with your income, and it definitely has to do with your money. So yeah, so that is the challenge. How do we show up? How are we best to like walk into every day knowing this now? How are you best to show up? Ace of Wands. This is an amazing energy for you to start to move forward a little bit. Aces are a ton of energy. It's like an especially charmed time to do certain kinds of work or certain types of things in your life. This is about making those moves and doing things, getting things done. Use this energy. This is like make the bold move, plant the seeds, and it'll help you move on from loss and lack of reward from what you did previously. This may have even been something along the lines of, am I putting good money after bad, good time after bad, that kind of thing. This is basically saying, don't worry about the time, the money behind you. There's an opportunity to move forward and have something different from this, and something that you would like better overall. So what is the whispers from your guides? What's the advice from your guides? This was the Empress, who also came up in reverse. The Empress in reverse, definitely I feel like this is don't get focused on the loss, because here she's usually gestating, and in reverse, not so much. This is basically saying it's time to not get lost in what you have lost. That's not saying don't grieve. That's not saying don't think about it, happy thoughts only. No, none of that. This is about, though, when you really start making moves and making decisions and going forward, this is basically saying, don't focus on what you have lost. Try your best to just focus on where you're going, not where you're coming from. Don't beat yourself up. In short, don't beat yourself up. This is also permission to be really creative, go for things you're passionate about, and really kind of do what you want. So that is the advice. It's like Don't beat yourself up. You're ready to move on. You're ready to do some really great things. Indulge yourself with some really good connections with people, some really good creative outlets, and you'll be in a great position to continue making these relationships and to slide on into October. So, thank you, Aquarius. Hello, Pisces. These are your tarot cards for September of 2025. Coming in with the focus, this is the Page of Cups, and this is all about new energy in regards to creativity, romance, relationships, how you feel in your heart. The focus on this month is definitely connecting with people, meeting as many people as possible, getting into that more emotional side of yourself, the more fun, vibrant, and creative side for sure. So that's the focus. How are you entering the month? Not great. Not feeling great? Yeah, this is honoring what you're feeling right now. This is the Knight of Pentacles, but it showed up in reverse. This is about feeling stuck, really just sort of hard to get out of your own way even. This is sort of slacking off, losing motivation. I feel like it's the kind of thing where over time you've just become almost numb or complacent to feel like you don't want to be engaged with things anymore. And that's definitely happening. So it's also related to the challenge, I hate to say. So the challenge is the Page of Wands. This has a lot to do with patience as well. So I want to put that out there. You get 2 cards in a row about patience. So putting that out there. This is basically saying the challenge is exactly that blah, that feeling of not being able to shake it off and not being able to shake it off and be passionate about things again. You feel very jaded. This is all about kind of losing the plot and the plan. You lost the forest for the trees. What's your goal? That's been lost sight of. Even more, there could be a challenge where it's you have to face that you're not meeting your standards for things. Either you haven't or you don't feel like you want to continue meeting those standards, either one or both. This has a lot to do with, just things, lack of energy, lack of engagement. It's going to be really hard to get yourself motivated to do anything, but it's also going to be, it's the motivation, but also just almost burnout. Yeah, a lot of like resentment type feelings there. So that will be coming up. How are you best to show up? Now that you know this, how do you enter your day? We got the 3 of Swords, but also in reverse. So it actually is not a really bad card that way. When the 3 of Swords shows up in reverse, what it's telling us is this is a really good time to start to let go of pain attached to the hurt that others have caused. Now, I'm not saying good vibes only. I don't believe in that anyway. I live in Philadelphia. It definitely ain't good vibes only here. No, it does not apply. But yeah, so forgiveness, letting go. Sometimes when we're hurt, someone has hurt us. If we hold on to it very close because we want to see justice happen, there's a time and a place for that. But then there's also a time where the expression of drinking poison and expecting the other one to die. If you're angry, if you're upset, if you feel slighted, they don't care. And even if they did care, it wouldn't change anything. It's about separating yourself from the bitterness attached to the pain that they cause, because that bitterness itself will be toxic. So do you have to forgive the individuals to move on? If you do, even if it's for letting go of it for yourself, if that's the way you look at it, great. You can say, no, I'm not forgiving this, but I'm putting it in a place where I'm not actively going to feel bitter about it. I'm not actively going to torture myself with what happened. That kind of a thing. So that's the way to show up. Definitely trying to reach out a little bit of, not so much an olive branch to anyone else, but reach out an olive branch to you. Be kind to yourself. And if you go somewhere and you just feel like you're not in it, don't stay. it's definitely a sign of that too. Bringing us to the advice card. Two of Cups, also in reverse. So the Two of Cups is generally the card of coming together, relationships, and it is here. This is kind of dual, two sides to it. So this is advice, again, from your guides. It showed up in reverse, which says it's more than just the face value here. The Two of Cups, this is representing, instead of the normal two open-hearted, honest people coming together, what it's showing is deceit, betrayal, breakups, endings, closing of businesses, divorces, breakups, that kind of thing. It also is saying to connect, because remember your first card was Page of Water, new relationships and connecting. Pages, and you had like 2 pages in here. Pages are all about new energy. They're about starting fresh. I don't think that there were many, if any, signs that got a reading that had no pages. I usually don't see pages, so it's definitely the energy of this month. Working towards relationships. So while certain relationships are falling apart, breaking apart, and there's distance, and they might not be your relationships, it might be relationships close to you. This is basically saying, don't let that stop you from connecting with other people that you do feel a connection with. So the advice from your guides, yeah, there's going to be some things coming to light. There's definitely going to be some moments of surprise, but don't let that stop you from connecting with the good people that you do want in your life and bring forward. So thank you so much, Pisces, and have a beautiful month. Is that we have a cat visitor.
Gertie. Gertie. I was reading cards. Gertie. You want to say hi? Look, up here. Badoopa.
Further, you don't want to end up in this position. So we've gotten some warnings already, but this is a month for self-care. Really important for self-care. And Gertie, can we not? Really important for self-care. And this kind of shows us why.
Can you frickin' not? Why are you on there? Come on. I love you, but you're just too much.
So I hope that these were helpful. I hope that you enjoyed your time here. I hope that Gertie brightened your spirits. Really. But yeah, wishing you all the best of September. And remember, this is laying the groundwork for some really big stuff. So if you need like a mental escape, brainstorm of what you want to see in the future. You might learn some things about what you want to do. So I'll see you again next month in October. Bye for now.